matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ziprecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free.
It's time for your Money Radio Market Update. The Dow is up 575 points at 38,686. The S&P 500's gained 42 at 5277. The Nasdaq dropped 2 points at 16,735. Gold is down $18.90, trading at $23.47 an ounce, and oil's down 82 cents, trading at $77 a barrel.
Well, this afternoon, plenty of sunshine, high 104. It'll be clear tonight, low 74. Saturday, sunny, high 104. Clear Saturday night, low 74. Sunshine Sunday, high 104. Learn why more Money Radio listeners are moving their financial plans and their 401k rollovers to Steve Jurich with IQ Wealth. Call today to arrange your free strategy session for 2024. Visit IQWealth.com, IQWealth.com. I'm meteorologist Jim Rinaldi.
A driver who isn't wearing their seatbelt may get a ticket. A driver who isn't wearing their seatbelt during a crash may not make it home. Don't risk it, click it, or ticket. Paid for by NHTSA.
So what did the doctor say?
He said I might need surgery.
Wow, it's that serious.
Well, we won't know for sure until I talk with a surgeon, but I'm lost. This is all new to me.
The decision to have surgery isn't easy, but neither is living with pain.
There is an alternative to surgery. At the Naturopathic Physicians Group in Scottsdale, our doctors are experts in full-spectrum care using a natural approach and can restore pain-free joint function so you can avoid surgery. Patients come in for a variety of issues, including joint pain, chronic conditions, and issues specific to men's and women's health. We also help restore balance in immune, digestive, and hormone systems, which often improves both immediate physical symptoms and also improves cognition and emotional stability. So when traditional medicine suggests you need surgery, how about taking another approach? Call Naturopathic Physicians Group at 480-451-6161. That's 480-451-6161. Or go to naturopathicgroup.com.
A driver who isn't wearing their seatbelt may get a ticket. A driver who isn't wearing their seatbelt during a crash may not make it home. Don't risk it, click it, or ticket. Paid for by NHTSA.
The arguments both for and against the two-party system are as old as the Constitution itself. And that's what will be at the root of this broadcast. How do we fix the antagonism which seems to be rooted in Democrats versus Republicans? Because the issues are always far more complex than that. And neither party has a solution or an antidote which will appease everyone, even from within their own party. Be sure to tune in this Sunday at 9 a.m. for AZ's On the Fence, right here on Money Radio.
Tired of that same old spin on Washington? You want the truth? Then listen to All Right Now with me, J.D. Hayworth, every weekday, 3 to 5 p.m. right here on Money Radio. I'll give it to you straight. I've represented you in Washington, and I've lived to tell some tales. You can get involved. Call in, text our show, and you know you'll get it right. It's All Right Now, every weekday, 3 to 5 right here on Money Radio.
Screen time's over.
Be home by 11?
Put your phone down while we're eating.
When parents set boundaries, keep track of where their kids go, and talk to them about the dangers of underage drinking and drugs, they keep their kids safe. Visit TalkNowAZ.com. Be the influence. Talk early. Talk often. Talk now.
Thanks. Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
This message is sponsored by the Substance Abuse Coalition Leaders of Arizona.
Let me do without it.
The views expressed on the following program do not necessarily reflect the views of Money Radio staff, management, or advertisers, and do not represent an offer to buy or sell any securities. Some interviews heard on this program may be sponsored by the participants.
How bad can I be? I'm just doing what comes naturally. How bad can I be? Bad can I possibly be?
Welcome to Your Health is Wealth, giving you the keys to unlocking better health naturally. Today, you'll learn about how to bank wisdom for a fuller, richer life. Your hosts are Dr. Stephen Katz, an award-winning naturopathic doctor and former president of the Arizona Naturopathic Medical Association. Also, Dr. Lorena Ryder, naturopathic doctor and current board member of the Arizona Naturopathic Medical Association.
Good afternoon, and welcome to Your Health is Wealth here on Money Radio 1510 AM, 105.3 FM. I'm your host, Dr. Stephen Katz, alongside my co-host, Dr. Lorena Ryder. We're here each and every week to help navigate your journey to wellness, but we like to do it simply without all of that horrible, confusing medical terminology that everybody hates. We're here to provide practical solutions to your health issues that allows your body's healing systems to do the work for you. It's simple, it's natural, and it works. If you're still struggling with your health, you can come see us at Naturopathic Physicians Group to help get your life back.
Dr. Ryder here. You can text us live on the show if you have questions. Text to 803-998-1510. We'll do our best to answer those on the air. What are we talking about today?
Something delicious.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be fun and good. Athlete's feet, aka tinea pedis.
Athlete's foot.
Foot or feet?
We figured around lunchtime, let's talk about something that's as delicious as this.
Right. Who gets athlete's feet? Let's see. So it is the most common of all fungal infections, and it can affect anybody, any age. Although children are rarely infected and women are less likely to get it than men. I'm sure there are reasons for that. But your risk of getting athlete's foot may increase with age. Now, men, athlete's foot is more common, especially between the ages of 20 and 40.
Is that because we sweat more?
I suspect it's probably because you're involved in a lot of sports, although that's probably changing. That demographic might be changing.
Or are we just more dirty?
Well, I wasn't going to say that, but
maybe.
I was thinking it.
Ages 20 to 40 are the most common. Again, athletic ages generally, but any age can have this. And this thing is very contagious. So if you see somebody that says, hey, I have athlete's foot, you should run away.
Yeah. Do not, like, if you're staying the night with a friend and they have athlete's foot and you shower in their shower, you will likely also get athlete's foot.
So just don't have friends and then there's no problem.
Right.
You'll never get it.
Some factors that can increase your risk of developing athlete's foot include wearing shoes that make your feet sweat pretty heavily. So this is like a moisture loving fungus is just moisture loving, right?
It loves it.
So if your feet are trapped in shoes that don't allow them to breathe, then it's going to be a breeding ground for athlete's foot.
Yeah. Anybody that has other skin issues will have a higher risk of getting athlete's foot. If you're somebody who has eczema, and we've talked about eczema before, where it's a very common condition for somebody who has an allergy to foods or environmental stuff, but it also could be somebody who has a weakened immune system. And so if you have a weakened immune system that manifests itself in skin issues, you have a much higher risk of getting athlete's foot.
Summertime, whenever you're going to public pools, walking around in gyms, shower rooms, damp public areas like the swim pads or the splash pads and that kind of thing, breeding ground for athlete's foot as well.
Basically anywhere you sweat. I mean, anywhere. So, I mean, even your home pool can get this if somebody in your house has it. If you live in a humid climate where you just walk outside and you're drenched with sweat, even though Arizona's, they say, a dry heat, it's still hot. You're going to sweat. I mean, I've plenty of times sweat just from walking from the office to the car, and it's about 50 feet. And it's not because I'm a sweater. I actually don't sweat a lot, but it's because it's 115 degrees out there. Anytime you do that, at the end of the day, when you pull your socks off, if you smell that, delicious, sweaty feet smell, you have a higher risk of athlete's foot.
If you have diabetes, diabetes pretty much increases the risk for numerous things. And one more of those to add to the list is athlete's foot.
And a big reason for the diabetes part is because you have so much sugar in your blood. And since athlete's foot is a fungal infection, it loves to feed on sugar. So the more sugar you've got floating through your blood, the more likely you're going to have multiple fungal conditions in your system, whether it be candida, aspergillus, or athlete's foot as well.
Yeah. And even though the age between 20 and 40 is where it's most likely to happen, once you reach over 60, you're more likely to contract athlete's foot. And that's mainly just because your immune system is starting to decrease and it won't fight it off as easily.
Now, in an encouraging thing, I would say 10 years ago, even there was I knew a lot more seniors that were less active than they are now. Seniors seem to be getting a lot more active, which is an awesome thing to see, especially, and I think pickleball is one of the big reasons out there now. I see lots and lots of people jumping into pickleball when it used to be shuffleboard, where they shuffling around there. But now I see them a lot more active with pickleball. But I'm also seeing them get hurt more too in the process. But they're going to be sweating in those socks. They're going to be, potentially if you're doing this at a gym, they're going to be using lockers more. And so their risk is definitely going to go up. But I think the benefits outweigh the risk.
Post chemotherapy can be a risk factor for athlete's foot. I mean, that's, again, because we talked about that weakened immune system. That's a reason where it might just be another breeding ground for athlete's foot.
Yeah, I mean, post chemotherapy, your immune system's way, way, way down. And so any type of immunotherapy out there, if your immune system is weaker, if you're doing steroids, if you're doing anything to make your system weaker, you're going to have a much higher risk of any fungal infection out there, any autoimmune condition out there. And of course, athlete's foot will be, it's basically your body can't kill it. If your body can't kill it, it's going to be there.
Yeah. If you happen to have venous insufficiency, or you notice varicose veins in the legs, or peripheral artery disease, that can be another risk factor for athlete's foot. When you think about it, if you don't have sufficient veins to bring healing factors and enough blood flow and everything that you need at the end of your limb there on your toe and your feet, you could get athlete's foot a lot easier.
Your limb, I like that.
And it is. It's like the end of the line there.
I mean, if your immune system carries through the blood and you can't get enough blood to the area, it makes all the sense in the world. Now, again, dietary stuff, again, still plays the biggest role. Now, with athlete's foot, there's going to be a lot more contact potential of getting athlete's foot if you come in contact with somebody who had it, sweaty areas like we've already talked about. But if your system is strong, even if you come in contact with somebody with athlete's foot, does not mean you're going to get athlete's foot. I guarantee everybody going to the gym, if one person has athlete's foot, not everybody's going to get athlete's foot. So what's the difference? Oftentimes, it's the other person's control factors. What are they eating? Are they healthy? Are they eating a bunch of sugar? Are they eating inflammatory foods? The worse your system is, the more likely that you're going to be in contact with that fungus and it's going to develop. I mean, I'll admit my feet get sweaty. I can't remember the last time I had athlete's foot, knock on wood, but ultimately, I mean, I can't remember last time, but when I was a kid, I ate much differently back in the day and I ate a lot worse, and I used to get athlete's foot. So, I mean, it definitely plays a role. The rules are the same. I mean, I still sweat, in my socks but I haven't gotten athlete's foot.
It's just like anything that you contract, whether it's a virus or bacteria, some people will just be able to fight it off, never even know that their body did the job of fighting it off and you came in contact with it, while somebody else could be very sick from that same thing.
Yeah, and dirty equipment, towels, just again, a lot of sweating, poor hygiene are all your biggest risk factors.
Yeah. So thanks for tuning into Your Health is Wealth. We're the doctors from Naturopathic Physicians Group. We're located in Scottsdale, Arizona. After this quick break, we'll continue talking about athletes' feet and related conditions.
So what did the doctor say?
He said I might need surgery.
Wow, it's that serious.
Well, we won't know for sure until I talk with a surgeon, but I'm lost. This is all new to me.
The decision to have surgery isn't easy, but neither is living with pain.
There is an alternative to surgery. At the Naturopathic Physicians Group in Scottsdale, our doctors are experts in full spectrum care using a natural approach and can restore pain-free joint function so you can avoid surgery. Patients come in for a variety of issues, including joint pain, chronic conditions, and issues specific to men's and women's health. We also help restore balance in immune, digestive, and hormone systems, which often improves both immediate physical symptoms and also improves cognition and emotional stability. So when traditional medicine suggests you need surgery, how about taking another approach? Call Naturopathic Physicians Group at 480-451-6161. That's 480-451-6161. Or go to naturopathicgroup.com.
This is Ference, host of the Your Personal Bank Show. Whether you love banks or hate them, I think we can agree they're savvy about money. Banks typically borrow from the Federal Reserve 7 to 9 times their customer deposits, then loan those funds to earn interest. Banks typically average 30 to 40% gross income annually on consumer deposits. You can safely leverage bank money in a similar manner. We have banks that will fund ongoing annual premiums into your high cash value policy that is principal guaranteed. The cash in your policy is an asset and can be used as collateral. Your average rate of return can grow to strong double digits annually within a few years. This can be done income tax-free with guarantees and no downside market risk. Contact me at yourpersonalbank.com or 866-268-4422, 866-268-4422 to learn how to earn double-digit returns, income tax-free with guarantees and no downside market risk. Or tune in to the Your Personal Bank Show Tuesdays at noon.
Welcome back to Your Health is Wealth. We're live today and every Friday at 1 p.m. We discuss a different topic about natural remedies for your health every week. And today's topic is athlete's feet.
Yeah, we like athlete's feet. It's a good topic to talk about on a Friday at 1 o'clock. So every single week I do a segment called What Isn't Your Doctor Telling You? It's not an anti-doctor segment. It's just when you go to your doctor, if they tell you that you have 5 minutes to go over every single one of your ailments, then likely is you're going to miss something. And if you miss something, you're not going to be able to get to the root cause and then you can't heal. So I like to give a little bit of a tidbit every week to, use if you want and don't use if you don't. This one's a little bit more fun though, just because we're talking about athlete's feet. So did you know, that when you eat dinner with your loved ones, if they have athlete's foot, you might be getting athlete's foot from your dinner table?
That is so gross. Tell us how.
So again, most people, especially when they're younger, do not have good hygiene. So they're going to be the first ones to be scratching, touching their feet, changing. And then when it comes to how do you get rid of it? Well, you got to wash your hands and clean, before you go to dinner, which again, hygiene is also not known to be a very high priority in teenage years and young adults. So what ends up happening is you will have one of your family members have athlete's foot, come home, take off their shoes, take off their socks, semi-clean their hand before dinner, and then magically they're touching the forks, they're touching the plates, they're touching all of the cups, they're drinking out of the gallon in the what's it called?
Fridge.
The fridge. Thank you. It's a Friday for me too. They're touching everything without having good hygiene. How many people come home from sport activities and the first thing they do is go to the fridge or the pantry? It's not going to get cleaned up, changed, shower. They're going right to the pantry. So they are touching everything that you're going to have on that plate, and is so contagious that if you have somebody that is active, make sure when they get home, they clean first before they start touching everything, or you are going to get athlete's foot at your dinner table.
And that is vindication to all the moms out there that are yelling at their kids to go wash their darn stinky, dirty hands as soon as they get home.
Yeah, because they don't. They like to come home and eat snacks right away, and they are giving you all athlete's foot.
Fantastic. So if you've never had athlete's foot, here are some symptoms that you may experience. I mean, you can Google a picture of this and it will show you exactly what it looks like. But basically, you have scaly, peeling, or cracked skin between your toes. It'll be itchy, especially right after you take your socks or shoes off. So those kids who are finished with sports are pulling off their socks. They're like digging in and scratching that, then it's under the fingernails, and exactly what you said, everything they touch.
It is the best relief in the world. When you have athlete's foot, taking that sock off and scratching is like, it's got to be what it feels like to a dog when you're scratching behind their ear.
Oh my gosh.
Because it is like, oh, it feels so good. The problem is you can't just keep scratching it over and over again because you're just going to make it worse.
Yeah, to get raw. You'll have inflamed skin that might appear red, purple, or gray, depending on your skin color. It can be burning or stinging. You might even have blisters. Some athletes' feet are blistering. Basically, dry, scaly skin on the bottom of the foot. It can go up around the side of the foot as well. And the feet smell. I mean, fungus smells no matter where it's at. Feet are stinky anyway. You add fungus to stinky feet, you've got extra smelly feet.
Yeah. And then you put it on the dinner table. Delicious. Now, not that anybody truly out there cares, because athlete's foot is athlete's foot, but there's actually 3 kinds of athlete's foot out there. One is called interdigital. Well, if your finger or if your toes and your fingers are known as digits, then naturally this is interdigital. So it's going to be, you get your athlete's foot fungal infection in between your toes. And then basically it itches between your toes and you get that nasty, delicious smell from your toes.
There's also moccasin athlete's foot. So if you know what a moccasin is, these were actually popular when I was a kid. Moccasins with like fuzzy insides.
I remember to see them at the stores, and they were usually in like the Arizona stores because everybody in Arizona needs to go shop at an Arizona store. I never understood that at all.
Forgot about that brand, but yeah. Moccasin athletes.
Go buy a cactus because there's not a lot of them.
Right.
Like I see cactus farms out there and they're like, go buy a cactus. I'm like, can I just look outside? Like, why would I want to put one near my house?
I don't know. People do things.
So I can get stuck.
Yeah.
That's why.
But moccasin athlete's foot can result in dry and peeling skin on your foot. It might be the entire sole of your foot, but it can also become up around the sides of your feet, which, it looks like a moccasin. That's exactly why it's called this. So that would be like basically the whole bottom of your foot and up around the sides as well.
Yeah, you'll like take your foot and like scratch the ground with it, and you'll be like, and people will be looking at you like, what the hell are you doing?
Ugh.
You look like you're kicking the ground.
That and the sides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the least common one out there is called vesicular. This one actually forms blisters like pustules. So you can actually have fluid-filled pustules in there. And these tend to be more on the bottom of the feet, but they can be on other parts of the feet as well. But basically itchy, very smelly. Pus smells. And that's another thing, not just fungus in general, but pus. If you have any kind of pus out there, again, we're really having a delicious conversation today. But pus smells. Like, as someone who has cut open a lot of different wounds out there, pus never ceases to amaze me on how gross it smells.
Well, it's an infection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that being said, yeah, don't eat it.
Well, let's talk about some traditional testing for athletes' feet. If you go to a doctor, you're like, my feet are red, raw, itchy, and they're peeling. What's going on? The doctor takes a look at them. Most of the time, the doctor will know what they're dealing with. Hey, that looks like athlete's foot. We should probably get you an antifungal. But that's generally the case of what would happen there.
If you even go to the doctor for this, most of the time people will kind of be like, oh, that's athlete's foot, basically because their feet smell, they see the rashes, they might have the scaliness to it, and they also have the sweaty, and they're playing sports. So there's a lot of things that point towards that direction. So they'll generally just go to the store and pick up some spray or cream to use for it. But it doesn't always go away with that stuff. And that's when that would lead them to go to the doctor and see if there's something else they want to do.
There are some exams other than just looking at the foot that a doctor can do, something called a KOH exam. That's a simple office test. It uses potassium hydroxide, dissolves the skin cells so that only fungal cells are visible. So if you get a positive on here, you know for sure that it's fungus that you're dealing with.
Yep. And then the fungus will be among us. So skin scraping, this is, again, if you talk about someone who's treating it and it's not getting better, where they need to figure out, why is this not getting better? Do they need to do a deeper test to determine if there's a culture in sensitivity, what fungus is causing this? But also they can do something called a sensitivity, where they can find out what will kill it in the process. So that's where they'll either do a skin scraping or a skin biopsy at worst case scenario. And that's to get you an actual diagnosis of what fungal's causing it and then what could kill it. But again, very rarely will somebody have to go into that depth in order to get rid of their athlete's feet.
Yeah. And even one part beyond that would be a skin biopsy, which is unlikely, but it can be done, which is a small piece of skin removed, sent to the lab, tested, just to make sure that it's something that you can deal with. If it's something other than athlete's foot, you have no idea what you're dealing with here, that skin biopsy would be a good idea.
And again, if you're autoimmune or you're on any kind of medications that can trigger it, if you have other fungal issues like psoriasis or dandruff, you're going to be at a higher risk of having athlete's feet. So if you have those other conditions, oftentimes they're going to be like, oh yeah, you likely have athlete's feet.
Mm-hmm. There's some traditional treatments like we talked about earlier, which are over the counter that you just go grab at your local drugstore. Clotrimazole, this is the over-the-counter antifungal cream. It's pretty good at treating athlete's foot. It works by stopping the growth of that fungus that's responsible for the infection to begin with. That's a good place to start.
Yeah. Why not kill it if it's there?
Right.
There's also miconazole. It's also a cream or a powder. This one you apply again, it also just kills the fungus itself. These are both very topical type treatments to kill it. And they do work. I mean, you might need to be on it for, sometimes a couple of weeks or more, but it does actually work. I mean, there's also Tinactin, and there's also, Lotrimin or Lotrimin Ultra, which is also known as butenofine. These are the more newer versions that they have out there to basically try and kill the fungus. They have to get stronger and stronger as the bugs are evolving. Just like with antibiotics, they have to make stronger and stronger antibiotics out there because these bugs are smart and they're getting stronger and stronger and harder to kill. So they have to come up with more and more new versions of these drugs in order to kill them.
Yeah, it's important to follow the instructions. If you're using these over-the-counter medications at home, make sure you dry your feet first. You got to make sure they're clean and dry fully, and then you apply the medication. And don't forget to put it between your toes because that's a perfect breeding ground for the fungus. Follow the instructions on the label. Just do what it says. Some medications are recommended once a day, some are twice a day, and then some are even more frequently than that.
But you have to follow the directions. And even if the feet look better, you still want to keep applying it for usually up to a month on a lot of them because fungals they'll lay dormant as well, or they'll look good. Even if you have a few cells left, if they grow back, they will be harder to treat the second time. So follow the instructions, kill that bug, and then it will go away.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you again for tuning into our weekly show, Your Health is Wealth, on Money Radio, 1510 AM, 105.3 FM. We are the doctors from Naturopathic Physicians Group. When we come back, we'll continue discussing our treatment options for athlete's feet, athlete's foot, and related conditions associated with that. We hope this conversation has been fun so far and you're eating lunch, because there's nothing better than talking about fungus when you're eating lunch. See you in a few.
Things may seem wrong, but soon it'll be all right now. JD Hayworth here. Join me weekday afternoons 3 to 5 on Money Radio.
I'm Jerry Willis, and this is the Fox Business Report. Stocks gaining steam before the closing bell, with the Dow finishing out the last trading day of the month sharply higher. The tech-heavy Nasdaq fell, but paired from bigger earlier losses as tech stocks retreated. However, the tech sector posted its best month of the year. It was a losing week for the major averages, with both the Nasdaq and S&P 500 snapping a 5-week winning streak, but they were up sharply for the month. Investors weighed the latest PCE inflation readings for April that were mostly in line with forecast. While consumer spending weakened mixed signals for the Fed that provided little clarity on whether the central bank will be able to begin slashing interest rates in September. The Dow winners: United Health Group, Salesforce, and McDonald's. The Dow decliners: Microsoft, Amazon, and Caterpillar. The Dow rising 575 points, the Nasdaq down 2, S&P 500 up 42. It's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
Hi, I'm Ron Kraszewski, Chairman and CEO of Stifel. Financial advisors, let's face it, if you're not growing your practice, you're losing market share. Stifel is a growing, entrepreneurial, advisor-centric firm built for successful advisors like you. There's a reason why 148 financial advisors joined Stifel last year. Come join us and find out why Stifel is the firm where success meets success. Visit www.choosestifel.com.
Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
I'm Jim Chesko with Your Money Now. A late session buying spree helped stocks erase early losses and finish mostly higher. Blue chips leading the turnaround. The Dow Jones Industrials ended the day with a gain of 575 points, or 1.5%, the Dow's best day of the year. The S&P 100 recouped 42 points, but the Nasdaq Composite eased 2. All the indexes lost ground for the week, but they were higher for all of May. The major indexes all up 6 of the past 7 months. Shares of Gap rallied sharply today. The apparel chain stock soaring 28%. The company, which also owns Athleta, Banana Republic, and Old Navy, blew past expectations for quarterly earnings. Revenue topped estimates as well. Plus, Gap raised its full-year guidance. Closely watched economic data released this morning came mostly in line with forecasts. The core personal consumption expenditures price index increased 0.2% in April, the same figure that was anticipated by economists. Core PCE was up 2.8% on an annualized basis. That's Your Money Now.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Money Radio, a pioneer in a broadcasting format, giving people confidence in their finances before and during retirement. Welcome to the club.
So what did the doctor say?
He said I might need surgery.
Wow, it's that serious.
Well, we won't know for sure until I talk with a surgeon, but I'm lost. This is all new to me.
The decision to have surgery isn't easy, but neither is living with pain.
There is an alternative to surgery. At the Naturopathic Physicians Group in Scottsdale, our doctors are experts in full spectrum care using a natural approach and can restore pain-free joint function so you can avoid surgery. Patients come in for a variety of issues, including joint pain, chronic conditions, and issues specific to men's and women's health. We also help restore balance in immune, digestive, and hormone systems, which often improves both immediate physical symptoms and also improves cognition and emotional stability. So when traditional medicine suggests you need surgery, how about taking another approach? Call Naturopathic Physicians Group at 480-451-6161. That's 480-451-6161. Or go to naturopathicgroup.com.
Tired of that same old spin on Washington? You want the truth? Then listen to All Right Now with me, J.D. Hayworth, every weekday 3 to 5 p.m. right here on Money Radio. I'll give it to you straight. I've represented you in Washington, and I've lived to tell some tales. You can get involved. Call in, text our show, and you know you'll get it right. It's All Right Now, every weekday 3 to 5 right here on Money Radio.
Need a boost in capital or a flexible line of credit for your growing business? Hi, I'm Dylan Cohen at JR Capital. I can help you get the money you need fast. The process is a breeze with a simple application and same-day approvals. No more waiting, no more hassle. Just a straightforward path to securing the funds you need, faster and easier than asking your banker. So call me, Dylan Cohen, at 602-834-7353. That's 602-834-7353. Or visit moneyradio.com and click on Finance with Dylan.
Hello and welcome back to our weekly show, Your Health is Wealth, here on Money Radio, 1510 AM, 105.3 FM. We are here each and every week to help you take charge of your health and get your life back on track. Today, we are talking about athlete's foot and related conditions.
Dr. Ryder here with your tip of the week. So I am going to talk about athlete's feet and do a little myth busting today. So likely, like myself, you have heard that if you pee in the shower, then you will sterilize the ground that you are standing on and you will then not get athlete's feet. Do you believe this myth?
Am I throwing myself under the bus if I pee in the shower if I answer this?
Well, I have to admit, I believed this for the longest time, until I got all sciencey and everything, right? And then really looked into it. It's not true. The theory behind it is true. So the urea in urine is what would actually help cure athlete's feet, but there's just not enough urea in urine to actually make a difference. So peeing in the shower or peeing on your feet does not prevent or cure athlete's feet.
That might be grosser than what I talked about at the dinner table.
Maybe.
Yeah, people are going to stop listening to our tips.
Myth number 2, you can wash off athlete's foot. You can't do that.
With pee.
No, you cannot wash it off. You can try, but it will not work. Soap does not cure athlete's foot. Also, if you believe dirty feet are the only feet that contract athlete's feet, that is also not true. Even very clean feet can get athlete's feet.
Well, think about it too, like how many people clean their feet in the shower, but then they go use a dirty towel to dry their feet. That doesn't help. You are still going to have a risk of getting athlete's foot.
Yeah. Myth number 3, rubbing an onion on your affected foot can cure athlete's foot. Now, I had actually not heard of this one before, but I was looking around for myths for athlete's feet cures. This is untrue. There's no scientific evidence of rubbing an onion on your foot curing athlete's foot. You will simply end up with stinky, fungus-smelling feet.
Now, don't rub it on your foot and then eat it.
Gross.
Just saying. It's still food, so you might be like, oh, delicious. No, don't do that. Especially if you peed on your feet, too, before you rubbed the onion and then you ate it.
This sounds like something from Shrek.
Well, they did talk about onions.
And swamp.
This might be the grossest topic we've ever done.
It might be.
Sweet. Any other myths for...
No, I just brought three
Nice.
in. Yeah.
Very cool. So last segment, we talked about the different medications you can get. So if the sprays and the topical over-the-counter ones are not working, there are prescription antifungals you can take. One of the most common ones given out there is called Lamisil. Lamisil can be taken by mouth. You generally have to take this for 1 or 2 months, though, and you don't always want to take things by mouth for that long. So therefore, if you want to be on a prescription, if it's not getting better, you can do this. But again, very rarely will you have to do something like this.
If you haven't got the idea yet, fungus is really difficult to kill and keep gone. So that's why you have to do these for an extended period of time. Diflucan or fluconazole is another oral antifungal medication. It's a strong antifungal, but it is linked to liver issues. So you need to be careful with it. Definitely follow your doctor's instructions on this one. This is not a long-term fix, but if you have a chronic fungal issue, you may need to take it longer than you think is a normal time.
And these are, again, a lot of times if you're going to take these meds for a long time, you're going to want to check your liver enzymes because it can be damaging to the liver. But again, these are last resort for most people. This is not a common treatment for it, but there are people that do need to do it. So naturopathic testing, what would we do for any kind of fungal out there? Well, one, stop feeding the fungal. Again, if you're going to test for anything, why is your immune system weaker? We talk about this almost every week. Food sensitivity, food allergy testing. If you are inflaming your digestive tract, you are weakening your immune system. When you have a weak immune system, you are not able to fight off normal everyday pathogens like fungals. Therefore, if you are not eating clean, you are not taking care of yourself, you are a much higher risk for any fungal infection, including athlete's feet.
Mycotoxin testing. So a lot of people don't even realize that you can test for mold and fungus through urine. You can test for
Catch it in the shower while you're
trying
get
to
some
cure
before you go on your
feet.
foot.
You can test for over 30 different types of mold. These molds originate from food, soil, buildings, etc. You don't have to just eat a moldy strawberry to be able to have mold in your system. It comes from so many different sources. And this test is important to know what the systemic outlook of your fungal infection is. So if you're having toenail fungus, fingernail fungus, you're getting athlete's feet, jock itch, vaginal yeast infections, you probably want to do this mycotoxin test to see what's going on inside the body.
Yeah, I mean, then there's also stool analysis. You're like, why am I talking about a foot condition, but I want to look at my poop? Well, it's because Stool analysis can also measure for chronic fungal issues. And like we said earlier, one fungus tends to mean you have a higher risk of other fungus. So if your GI tract is weak but you're eating clean, you can assess your stool and determine, do you have any other fungals in your system? And then you can also use this test to determine, is the treatment working? Granted, if it's athlete's foot, you'll be like, okay, it's gone away. That's good. But what about the other fungals you might have in your system as well? So that's where the stool test comes in. And you want to do a full stool analysis. You don't want to just check for parasites like so many people try to do. You want to see how much good fungal you have, how much bad fungal you have, and are you balanced? Is your flora healthy? Because if you have a good, healthy flora and you're eating clean, you're much less likely to have a chronic fungal issue.
I mean, there are plenty of little nooks and crannies in the body where it is a perfect place for fungus to hide and breed. And it can be quite difficult to treat that in those nooks and crannies. And so if you're having an issue that you just can't seem to put your finger on it, all of these symptoms, you've been tested so many different ways and you're still having some symptoms.
Pee on it.
Also, do not drink the pee. Urine therapy is not proven to help. But yeah, it can be stuck in the body in little nooks and crannies. And stool's a good way to find that. Stool and urine is a perfect way to find that.
Stool and urine. The reason why we collect things that are leaving us. It's not just say goodbye and flush them away. They got
There's a
information.
purpose. Yeah.
There's a purpose. So how do you get rid of it naturally? Well, prevention is the best form of cure. It's one of the naturopathic principles. So for starters, keep your hands and feet clean and dry. Obviously, if it's caused by sweating or being around wet environments, you want to keep them clean and dry. And when you do dry off, make sure you dry off completely. Otherwise, you will be passing around that delicious fungal infection everywhere around the house. And like we said earlier, around the kitchen table.
Now, we are fortunate here in Arizona that it is a dry climate because we're not as prone to fungus here as, say, a wet environment like Washington State or
Florida.
Yes, the Carolinas, someplace that's just thick and moist and really great for your skin and complexion, but breeds that fungus. Make sure you're keeping your fingernails and your toenails short and clean. I mean, there's a lot of different reasons for that, but one is to keep the fungus away. Don't walk around barefoot in areas like the locker rooms or public showers. We said that before. Buy those $3 flip-flops, throw them in your bag, put those on your feet before walking around in those areas.
And then clean them when you're done. Don't forget that part. And, don't share equipment with people that have potential issues. So if you have somebody in your family that has toenail issues or fungal stuff on their feet, and you guys are sharing the same nail clippers, which families do, you're going to just spread it around. I mean, sharing is caring, but that's not something you have to share.
And that goes the same with makeup brushes. Like if you have a fungal type of acne and you share a makeup brush with somebody else, that will transfer. So there you go.
Yeah, and if you go to a nail salon, of course, you need to make sure you're going to a real nail salon. How many people do knockoff places because they're cheaper? I mean, you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get some really funky colors in your nails if you see a knockoff one too. You'll get some nice yellow fungus under those nails.
This scares me. I only go maybe once or twice a year to a nail salon for a treat, but it just scares me.
Same thing, haircut places too, though. If somebody has a sensitive scalp and they go to a place that doesn't clean their stuff properly, you're going to get infections on your scalp. It's like where you go plays a role. If you're going to one of those places where they're like a dime a dozen, where they're just next, you have no idea if they're actually cleaning their equipment properly.
Yeah. And even though we said that you can get athlete's feet, whether you have dirty feet or clean feet, we still advocate for cleaning and showering yourself. Definitely stay clean, wash your feet, dry them, and
pee on them.
Only if you want to.
No, don't do that.
If you feel like you're just not getting to the bottom of your health issues with your current doctor, call us at Naturopathic Physicians Group in Scottsdale, Arizona. In our next segment, we'll be continuing our discussion on addressing athlete's feet and related condition using natural treatments.
So what did the doctor say?
He said I might need surgery.
Wow. It's that serious.
Well, we won't know for sure until I talk with a surgeon, but I'm lost. This is all new to me.
The decision to have surgery isn't easy, but neither is living with pain.
There is an alternative to surgery. At the Naturopathic Physicians Group in Scottsdale, our doctors are experts in full spectrum care using a natural approach and can restore pain-free joint function so you can avoid surgery. Patients come in for a variety of issues, including joint pain, chronic conditions, and issues specific to men's and women's health. We also help restore balance in immune, digestive, and hormone systems, which often improves both immediate physical symptoms and also improves cognition and emotional stability. So when traditional medicine suggests you need surgery, how about taking another approach? Call Naturopathic Physicians Group at 480-451-6161. That's 480-451-6161. Or go to naturopathicgroup.com.
How would you like to make money from a bank instead of the bank making money from you? How can you do this? This is Ference, host of the Your Personal Bank Show. We have banks that fund ongoing annual premiums into your high cash value policy that is principal guaranteed. Why would they do this? Cash is an asset and can be used as collateral. When you earn more in dividends from your policy than the interest the bank charges, you keep the difference. The difference has averaged 2 to 5% annually in your favor for the past 40 plus years. When the funds are contributed from a bank, you leverage other people's money and multiply your returns. Your average rate of return can grow to strong double digits annually within a few years. This can be done income tax-free with guarantees and no downside market risk. Contact me at yourpersonalbank.com or 866-268-4422, 866-268-4422 for more information. Or tune in to the Your Personal Bank Show Tuesdays at noon.
Welcome back to Your Health is Wealth. Thank you for joining us. I'm Dr. Lorena Ryder alongside my co-host, Dr. Stephen Katz. We're here today and every Friday to discuss different topics on health and natural ways to treat them. Today, we have a lovely, delicious topic of athletes' feet and related conditions.
Delicious. So on the term delicious, so how do you get rid of this naturally? We started talking about that in the last segment, like how to prevent it as best as you can. So when it comes to lifestyle changes, again, stop feeding the fungals. That goes for any fungal out there. So people that drink too much alcohol will increase their risk of the athlete's foot not just showing up, but being able to kill it will become more difficult. The diet plays a huge role. So if you do a food panel like we talked about, you'll know which foods are going to be inflammatory to your system, that's making your system weaker. If you're eating clean, you're less likely to sustain athlete's foot. You might get it, but it'll generally go away a lot quicker.
A fungus loves sugar. So any sugar, corn syrup, any refined carbohydrates that turn to sugar, just avoid these in general. I mean, high blood glucose is associated with nail fungus. It's also going to be associated with athlete's foot. So, and especially the patients with diabetes having that higher chance, it just kind of all adds up.
I mean, diabetes itself is just harder to treat for almost anybody because the sugar's feeding all the pathogens. So many people have multiple conditions, not just diabetes. They have many things associated because their blood sugar is too high, and fungal infections are one of them. And again, grains like gluten, gluten and wheat, they break down the body into sugar too. So they're always going to feed those fungals.
Yeah. Let's talk about some topical treatments. So this can be part of your treatment. This can help heal athlete's foot faster. There's, when you have something like fungus that you're dealing with, you just want to hit it from all avenues. We have something at the office that has been very valuable for a lot of different things. It is ozone-infused olive oil. This is a natural antimicrobial. The oxygen that's infused in this olive oil helps heal that damaged skin and can kill fungus. It's just really great.
If there was ever a thing that I tell people, it's good for your mouth, it's good for your butt, it's this stuff right here. Ozonated olive oil. I literally have people brushing their teeth with it. And I also have people using it for hemorrhoids. Mm-hmm. And it works so well. And it also greases the wheel for the hemorrhoids. So your stool can slide out much easier since it's based in olive oil. So you're not irritating the skin anymore. So again, now don't use the same brush to treat the hemorrhoid as you would with
Your
the
foot?
teeth.
Oh.
But you can also apply it to your feet. So again, you want to use, don't be gross.
Yeah, this has a little bit of a weird smell, but honestly, it works so good that it doesn't
It's a
matter.
better smell than athlete
That's
foot.
true. Yeah. Hydrogen peroxide foot soak. You can use this to kill the fungus. This is just pretty easy, self-explanatory. Just pour the hydrogen peroxide in there, soak your feet, and it will help.
Yeah, and if you do it as a hot foot soak, you do have to be careful. There's depending on how sensitive you are, some people have to dilute the hydrogen peroxide a lot. It's not as simple as just applying it, but some people do just apply it as well. So this is an individualized thing. And like we say every week, we're never telling you to start something or stop anything. We're just giving you information out there that you can discuss with your doctor to determine if it's the right treatment for you. But hydrogen peroxide works really, really nicely for any kind of foot issue when it comes to, bugs, bacteria, fungals, etc.
Neem oil. This is another kind of stinky solution, but it works. It has really great antifungal properties. Neem has been helpful for a lot of people in helping fight athlete's foot, any type of nail fungus, and ringworm too, which is also a fungus.
Lots of research on coconut oil has got antifungal properties. Coconut has something in there called lauricidin, which can kill off a lot of pathogens, bacteria, virus, fungals, etc., and has been used to cure a lot of people with athlete's foot without having to do the drugs.
Apple cider vinegar, very trendy. You can do this both topically, like a foot soak, like the hydrogen peroxide, or you can drink it as well. But you do want to water this down because the pH is just so acidic, it would burn your esophagus. But you can add 2 tablespoons of the apple cider vinegar to the warm foot bath. You want to dilute that as well because it would burn your feet as well.
It's vinegar, much like using peroxide. I mean, there's a reason why it fizzles when you put it on your skin. If you do too much of that, you're going to burn yourself. So again, you want to be very careful, follow instructions when you do it. But because athlete's foot smells so bad, there are things you can do to help with the smell. It's not so much going to treat the fungus very well, but again, it'll make your family, it'll make yourself a little happier because you don't smell so bad. But using stuff like essential oils like lavender oil or peppermint oil can go a really long way instead of smelling that pussy, gross athlete's foot.
Yeah. And better than spraying like perfume or something on them too.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's talk about some supplements. Oregano oil extract can be really helpful. There's 2 components found in oregano oil. It's thymol and carvacrol. These steal electrons from lipid molecules that form the fungal cell membrane. This causes the membrane to break apart, thus killing the fungus.
And one of my favorites I use for a lot of people with chronic fungal issues is caprylic acid. A lot of the over-the-counter supplements out there will have caprylic acid in them because it is a great, it penetrates directly through the cell wall of the fungal, and then it basically shuts down the ability for that fungal to replicate. So in time, it will kill all those fungal cells.
Mm-hmm. Turmeric or curcumin. This causes fungal cell membrane damage by increasing the leakage of potassium inside the cell. Then it causes plasma membrane damage and disrupts the membrane integrity. Now, this is pretty much how you have to go about killing fungus. You have to go in and you have to kill it at the source. And these 3 things are really great.
Treat the cause. Again, very often, yes, it can be topical past, but again, your body's inability to fight it internally is why it takes long to heal. If your system is weak on the inside, it is much harder to kill off any fungal, including athlete's feet. Again, when I used to eat like crap, I got athlete's foot. When I changed my diet and ate cleaner, can't remember the last time I've had athlete's foot, and I still get sweaty feet because I'm human. Mm-hmm. So it does make a huge difference.
Garlic contains compounds which have antifungal and anti-inflammatory properties. You can do it topically. That also is smelly, but that's okay. But you can take garlic capsules as well. But garlic topically can also help reduce the pain that's associated with athlete's feet.
So garlic, yes. Onion, no.
Correct. Yeah.
Which is interesting because so many times garlic and onion have very similar properties for health. But when it comes to fungals, garlic is better. Mm-hmm. Now, when you have bad fungals there, oftentimes one of the ways you can prevent bad fungals from happening is having good microflora in your system. And one of the studied ones that have been studied for a long time is called Saccharomyces boulardii. When your system has enough Saccharomyces boulardii, it actually inhibits the fungal from colonizing, so they can't form the groups and then form the rashes and all the other stuff associated with it. So if you have a really good healthy microflora, and if you use Saccharomyces boulardii, oftentimes you can prevent some of the fungal issues from even showing up.
Yeah. I mean, general probiotics, there's usually a blend, right? Those are good too. Those are really awesome. But if you pick one or just get one, like a simple, inexpensive one, that Saccharomyces boulardii is good. Ginger's awesome. It inhibits the growth of Candida albicans, which is the fungus compound. So it's antifungal, anti-inflammatory. Ginger helps get rid of that inflammation and the bad odor that's associated with athlete's foot.
And if you have GI problems, ginger soothes the digestive tract. It's in most formulas, or a lot of formulas, that heal the digestive tract too. It's good for nausea. So again, if there's one of those fungal people out there that have also GI problems, ginger's usually a nice, safe go-to.
Yeah, you can do ginger tea. There's even ginger candy, but in this instance, I wouldn't suggest that.
Yeah, that just has about 4 grams of sugar per piece. So if we're trying to tell you not to do sugar to treat your fungals, that's not the best. But if it's for nausea, oftentimes the ginger candy can be beneficial.
Yeah. There is grapefruit seed extract. This is antifungal and antimicrobial. Really helps with athlete's foot and the underlying infection.
And one last one, olive leaf extract is a compound from olive leaf, obviously. Antimicrobial, it stops the growth of fungals, molds, yeast, etc. So on that note, we hope you enjoyed the show this week. Thank you for tuning in to Your Health is Wealth here on Money Radio, 1510 AM, 105.3 FM. We are the doctors from Naturopathic Physicians Group. Have a great week, and we'll be back next week with another episode.
Thanks for listening to Your Health is Wealth. Be sure to tune in next week to learn more wisdom on how to live a fuller, richer life. If you have questions about today's show or would like to find out more about the topics we discussed today, call the Naturopathic Physicians Group at 480-451-6161.